Seriously, I just seemed to be in the zone when they had me doing pass routes. The moment I got the ball in my hands, everything seemed to slow down like I had all the time in the. Wait, wait, Alex said, interrupting Han. You want all of us to believe that you just happened to be able to do what you just did. He pointed over at Claire and said, she was there and saw how everyone reacted. There is no way you can just pass off what you did as just being in the zone. He made air quotes to impress further how ridiculous he found Han's explanation to be. What do you want me to say, Alex? That I'm some kind of god that reincarnated himself and my skills at tryouts were an extension of my godly abilities? Han threw both hands into the air in frustration. Alex scrunched up his face at Han's words. If you had that kind of ability, you'd have given yourself a better looking face, he spat. As Alex was grilling Han, neither of them heard Claire's words. I think Han has a pretty nice looking face. Hannah looked over at her best friend and reached out with one of her hands and rubbed Claire's arm in support. Think about it. If you had superpowers, then you'd be one of the top students at the school, but you barely do better than I do. Or you'd be going off and fighting crime and getting beautiful girls like they do in the comics, Alex continued. Only you'd think about that, Hannah chimed in with a frown on her face. Alex glanced over at Hannah with a nervous look on his face. I was just saying what they do in the comics, not what I'd do. Even though you're also hitting on the college girls at the mall, Hannah countered. When did this become about me? I thought we were talking about how Han suddenly turned into Mr. Football. He glanced over at Han for support. I'm just saying that I may have just been somewhat skilled and lucky. I remember my old man telling about his days playing on the varsity team, so maybe I just got some of his natural skills, Han tried to explain. The three of them looked at Han with doubt all over their faces, likely not believing such an explanation. Though the idea of your skills somehow being passed from your dad is dubious, at least it's something believable compared to thinking that you're some kind of superhero. Claire rolled her head in exasperation. Either way, congratulations, Han, on getting onto the football team, Hannah said. Thanks, Hannah. It isn't official. The assistant coach said they would let me know whether I made the team later this week, he answered. With the atmosphere returning to normal, the four of them went back into study mode. Han leaned over and grabbed his backpack, picking it up and placing it on the table. The entire time, the three of them had grilled him on how he was able to perform so well, so he never had a chance to take out his textbook. Opening up his pack, Han pulled out his chemistry textbook and supplies. Placing his bag back on the floor, Han turned to his school book and opened it up to the chapter they had gone over. Previously, he had never given much thought to chemistry, only understanding superficial concepts that films and anime had covered. His schoolwork was never unusually high due to his prior study habits and intellect not complementing science-related fields. He understood some business-related areas, like accounting and finance, and computer-related fields, like computer graphics and programming. After taking some business-related classes, such as individual taxation courses, he would sometimes help friends fill out their tax forms. Having an interest in creating his own anime, Han had taken computer graphics and animation classes. With the odd non-related courses, it had taken Han a while to complete his schooling. Luckily, Han was grateful to land a job after college. Reading his chemistry book, Han felt like he understood the field a lot more. For an electron to be attracted to another atom, a sufficient need for balance must exist. This is one reason for atoms to lose, steal, or share electrons. Han read from the chapter. I wonder how this connects to my own ability to create things. Protons are what makes up an element, while the number of electrons dictates its charge. He pondered to himself. Since my power is called creation, does this mean that I can create and control subatomic particles? Or does it have something to do with quantum mechanics? The four of them quietly studied the material. Even Alex, who was likely wanting to not think about how Han had transformed into someone who knew how to play football. Han enjoyed the atmosphere of studying, though not when it was just him. It was a beautiful feeling to get together with friends and study. A rumbling noise interrupted their peaceful atmosphere, causing Han to look up to see where the sound was coming from. Seeing Hannah's blushing face, he realized it was the sound of her stomach. "Do you guys want to go to the mall and get something to eat?" She tried to act as if nothing had happened. "I think that's a great idea, even though I was deep inside this chapter," Alex innocently said, earning him an eye roll from Claire. Closing his book, Han said, "Going to the mall sounds like a great idea. We've been in this place for several hours already, and we can swing by the mall before heading home." Looking over at the clock on the wall, Han saw that they had a couple hours before the food court closed. They all began putting their things away as they prepared to leave the library and head to the mall, which was near the edge of the city. The mall was recently added, so had to be built near the city limits. This meant that it was further away but popular with Alex since it was close to the university. Having such proximity to the college gave Alex a chance to interact with college girls, who usually expertly dodged his flirting. Han always enjoyed watching him get shot down, as if the students were expert anti-aircraft gunners in the previous war. This was to be the expected outcome, considering they were only middle school students. "Let's try that new burger joint inside the food court. I heard that their cheese fries are mind-blowing," Alex said after they finished putting on their backpacks and were walking towards the elevator. "I'm partial to the pizza place," Hannah commented. Getting into the elevator and reaching the ground floor, they made their way to the door as they talked about what they wanted to eat at the mall. Han waved at the assistant librarian as they went their way out of the library. The road in front of the library led directly towards the mall, so they made their way in that direction. In the other direction, Han could see the government buildings for the city, which looked similar to the library. With the government buildings in the center, the city's main street formed a plus sign with minor roads leading to various areas like the suburbs where they all lived. "You excited about the new horror movies coming out?" Alex asked Han as they all walked. "There are a couple I'm interested in," Han nonchalantly said. "I don't know how you guys can watch those movies," Claire commented with Hannah nodding her head in agreement. Kicking a small pebble on the sidewalk and watching it skip over the grass, Han said, "There's just something about horror movies that make you wonder about the world and the universe we live in." "Yeah," Alex agreed. "It makes you wonder if any of us would ever be in a similar scenario, where we run into a monster or serial killer." He lowered his voice while moving closer to Hannah. "Just think about it. We're camping in the middle of a forest, enjoying the campfire, when you suddenly hear the snapping of a branch somewhere in the darkness." Alex lowered his head and looked back and forth. Soon, you hear the rustling of the bushes and wonder if there's someone or something out in the darkness. "Quit it," Hannah said as she tried not to picture the scenario. Ignoring Hannah's protests, Alex continued, "You go out to see if it's just an animal when suddenly..." Han snapped a twig he found while Alex was telling his story right behind Hannah, causing her to shriek and jump. Alex and Han laughed at Hannah's reaction, who had run towards Claire. The two of them high-fived at their successful prank. "You boys are horrible," Claire yelled as she comforted the crying Hannah. The two of them slowly stopped laughing. Alex, seeing Hannah still distraught from the prank, said, "I'm sorry, Hannah. We didn't mean to scare you that much." "Yeah, Hannah." Han also apologized, wincing under Claire's glare. "I'll get you your favorite ice cream shake at the food court if you forgive me," Alex said. Seeing Hannah in such distress, he looked guilty about the incident. Hannah's crying soon turned into giggles once she heard Alex's offer. She turned towards and startled the two of them with a grinning face. "How do you like being the one that gets pranked?" she said to Alex and Han. Han looked over at Claire, who was also grinning. What? Then all that crying was faked?" Alex said, looking confused. "You owe me a strawberry shake with fruit on top," Hannah said as she stuck out her tongue. Alex looked over at Claire, who said, "Don't look at me. You deserve what you get for trying to scare Hannah." Han pointed and laughed at Alex, who looked defeated. "She got you good. You should have seen your face." "Don't think you're getting away from this. You have to share your cheese fries with me," Claire said to Han, who turned to look at her. "Why do I have to share my food with you?" he demanded. Claire and Hannah locked arms and walked faster, ignoring Alex and Han's protests. The two of them walked faster to catch up to the two girls. Han thought about how scary girls could be with their acting skills.